Then the next thing I want to talk about is mixing the hi-hats, because I got a request about it. And mixing the hi-hats, I don't have a special trick, but I always mix the hi-hats after I mixed the bass line. So I'm just give you a demonstration of it, how I would process it and mix it. First, let's hear the bass line. Okay, then let's see the hi-hats. For hi-hats, you can check two things. First of all, normally you can low cut hi-hats below 400 Hertz. It doesn't add much useful information to the mix. And what you also can check on the hi-hat for harsh frequencies, which you can notch out. Sometimes I also use this the EQing just on the group. Here you can see I panned the right a little bit to the left, which gives a very nice stereo effect to the hi-hat sound. And the shaker here are panned to the right a little bit so that it opens up the space. So I always have a combination of hi-hats which are playing in the middle, some hi-hats which are playing a little bit left, some stuff which are a little bit playing in the right, and the snare I always have in the middle. Yeah, the snare, there's some stereo effect going on in the snare, but you don't hear it much. You can check how it sounds in mono. Not much of a difference. So often I also want to mention, since I'm mixing a lot of music, since I'm mastering a lot of music, there are some, like the most common mistakes I hear in productions are that the snare sound sits not right. Most of the time the snare is a little bit too loud, and the snare has a little bit too much low frequencies. It totally depends on the genre. Like for hip-hop music, the snare drum is very important, and you need to design it very great. And for Psytrance, of course, the snare is also important, but in my productions, I always end up having a snare drum, often just relatively small frequency spectrum, like the snare drum just playing in a more or less smaller area from in the high mids from 1K to 16K. It depends, of course. But always check if you have a snare drum with a lot of low frequencies here. You have also sometimes a annoying resonance area in, let's say, 500 to 1K area here. You should check this area if it's nice to notch something out here. Then another mistake I hear in a lot of production are that the crash sounds are too loud. The crash sounds on the one. You simply have to check your track on very loud volumes. If you turn up the volume, listen to the whole track, listen to the drums, how they change when you turn up the volume, and adjust it. Just simply always check this step. And like crash sounds, you can put I put them very quiet in my arrangement. Often they are here. Often they are very like. They're pretty low.